Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is TWiT.
Bandwidth for This Week in Google is provided by Cachefly. CACHEFLY.com.
This is Twig, This Week in Google, episode 116, recorded October 12th, 2011, Lifehacker Reunion. This Week in Google is brought to you by Gotomeeting. Today's mobile world makes easy-to-use collaboration software more than nice to have. It's a necessity. For your free 30-day trial, visit gotomeeting.com, promo code TWIG. And by Vast Conference, the ultimate in professionalism, clarity, and flexibility for your conference calls, all at a low price. For 2 Vast Conference calls free with no commitment, go to vastconference.com and use promo code TWIG. It's time for Twig, This Week in Google, the show that covers Google, the cloud competitors of Google, and everything else going on the internet. You might realize that I'm not Leo Laporte. Well, that's true. I'm still not Leo Laporte. But I'm Iyaz Akhtar. I'm on TNT. You might see me sometimes daily on this thing. But we're joined by, of course, Gina Trapani from smarterware.org. Thanks for being here and anchoring the show. How are you doing today?
Great to be here. I'm doing great. Missing Leo and Jeff, but really excited about our lineup today.
Jeff is off with a book tour. He's out there with meeting the people. So it's kind of like meeting the people is kind of like a Google Hangout, but it's in real life. It's in 3D. It's in really great resolution. But we're also joined by Adam Pash of Lifehacker.com. How's it going?
Great. How are you guys doing?
Good, good. And all the way over there is Kevin Purdy, formerly of Lifehacker.com.
Hello.
You can find him at CompleteAndroidGuide.com, or you have a nice lower third there of a bit.ly/G+MM. Could you tell us?
Indeed. It links to an O'Reilly page for Google Plus, the missing manual.
So how are you guys feeling about this Lifehacker reunion?
This is
good.
fantastic.
The 3 of us haven't hung out together in a while, actually. I'm excited about it. It's a Lifehacker ganging up on you, Iyaz.
Well, I had one tip that was posted on Lifehacker a long time ago, way back, I think in 2001, long time ago. This is like, I had like a CRT monitor, I'm telling a tip. It was a simple idea. I hated doing the dishes, and so I decided, I think I'm going to put saran wrap on my plates, microwave my leftovers, then remove the saran wrap, and I have a clean plate. Now,
I remember this.
Wow.
Yeah, you ought to, because I remember the audience was kind of angry about this. I forgot that Lifehacker's kind of a green kind of thing, and yeah.
Well,
what do you remember, Adam? Or
I remember it being controversial. I apparently wrote this. And my lead-in says, lazy Lifehacker reader and ex-bachelor. Iyaz writes in.
Yep.
Back in my bachelor days, I lived on my own for a while. I hated doing dishes. However, I enjoyed eating off plates. At some point, I realized that plates were merely platforms to hold food. I got the idea to place plastic wrap over the plates or any other hard surface to create a clean plate.
I used to. I was quite inventive as a bachelor. I mean, any hard surface. If it was a particularly large book, I'd use that. And saran wrap worked on that too. I mean, it didn't matter. I mean, look, when you're just starting off, I was just out of college, and I was like, you know what? I don't want to buy lots of plates. So
I already bought all these books. Exactly.
I mean, what are you going to do with a physics book otherwise? Right. I mean, it's a paperweight and it's a plate.
This was June in 2006.
Yeah, but the tip originated from 2001. That's back when I was living on my own. Because I remember doing that in my apartment in Boston. And there it is.
There it is.
There it is. The controversial. Are the comments still up there?
Oh yeah.
Somebody says this guy will never get married. His mother should be embarrassed for him. I love the internet. I certainly love the internet.
All the posts that are the most controversial on Lifehacker are the ones that the editors assume are the least controversial, almost exclusively.
True. I thought it was benign. It was just something stupid. You don't have to do it, but anyway. So yeah, there's the true Lifehacker reunion. I get my one post, and I'm pretty sure that pales in comparison to everybody else's. Thousands, probably millions of posts at this point.
You're part of the family now. You're part of the family.
You are.
There's my initiation.
Face the wrath of the commenters. You're part of the family.
Someone called you unrealistic on Lifehacker, so welcome to the club.
Speaking of wrath, there's a lot of people ticked off about iOS 5. It got released today around 1 o'clock Eastern time, and apparently nobody can get it. It's apparently the download times are about, I'd say, 4 or 5 hours. Are you guys? Is anybody trying to get it right now while we're streaming? Are you using a bandwidth?
5 hours.
5 hours. Gina?
Yeah, no, I stopped the download because Skype is a delicate flower. So I decided to resume after the show is done. But it's actually, I think I'm done downloading. I had a problem with my iPad, couldn't be restored. That was the last error message I got. So I haven't quite updated yet. I'm hoping that'll finish this afternoon. But yeah, I made a snarky tweet earlier about how the update servers being unreachable wasn't exactly the biggest advertisement for iCloud reliability. And, several Apple fans kind of rushed to their defense and said that it was a huge download, and this happens to lots of big companies. Of course it does. I'm actually really excited for iOS 5, I have to say. I'm dying to get Android-like notifications, and I'm really excited about not having to plug my iPad into my Mac ever again. That's something that I think Android always just did so well as notifications. So I'm excited to get that kind of parity.
Kevin, have you succeeded in getting iOS 5 yet?
No, and I didn't follow Lifehacker's tip on getting it early last week, and now I totally wish I had.
I know, Adam, you got a hold of it somehow. Somehow you got iOS 5.
Well, we had I haven't downloaded the official update at all. Like Gina, last time I was on Twig, I had a miserable connection, so I'm not playing with that right now. But I am getting an iPhone 4S, which is the first iPhone I've had since the 3G. So it'll be interesting.
Yeah, I saw the tips about getting iOS 5 early. I wanted to wait because I really wanted to get the official version. I didn't feel like having to back up my system and do everything on my own. But for some reason, Apple also they sent out lots of different updates. They have new applications in the App Store. Like I think there's an airport utility. There's a new version of Lion Out 10.7.2 for some reason. Are they just trying to crash the internet today? I mean, that seems like a really bad idea to introduce 3 or 4 products at the same time over the cloud.
It's true. It's true. I got notifications for iTunes, which I think iTunes has actually been out for a couple of days. I just don't launch it very much. But those OS 10, the Lion updates, the airport utility, and then iOS 5. So it does seem like it was quite a list in my software update window. So yeah, I think it's going to be taxing for a few more hours at least.
As I'm being told in the chat room, this is not Mac Break Weekly. But Adam, do you have something to say, or Kevin, before we switch?
I always feel like it would be like when we saw. Adam and I think Gina and I were all at Lifehacker when Windows 7, when the betas were coming out, and it was just instant internet crash. Nobody could get it. And I always wondered if it would be really cool if like Microsoft or Apple kind of created their own private BitTorrent-ish networks, just, not demanding that folks keep a certain ratio, but just, check a box and say, I'd like to help other Apple super fans, with better wording, get iOS 5 as well. I always wonder why that's something that no company wants to do, is try to share the load with peer-to-peer a little bit without going totally into the BitTorrent recesses.
It's a really intriguing idea. The big news we were supposed to be talking about today was the Samsung Galaxy Nexus. It was the Nexus Prime rumored. It was supposed to be unveiled yesterday at an event, a CTIA called Unpacked, and didn't happen. The official reason, according to a Samsung spokesperson, was that it was in respect about the passing of Steve Jobs. They didn't want to introduce anything right now. They said they wanted to postpone the new product announcement at CTIA Fall. We agree that it's just not the right time to announce the new product. A new date and venue will be shortly announced. And I think the rumor is the 19th now, next week, a week from today, it's supposed to be dropped in Hong Kong. We're going to see the something big is coming. If you haven't seen the teaser video, I'm sure you have. It's just it's a curved glass phone. Is anyone still excited about this? Are you guys getting annoyed that this has been delayed?
I was surprised that it was delayed. I'll be honest, and not to come off as an insensitive jerk, but it kind of seemed like extreme deference. I mean, we all know that Android wouldn't be in the form that it is if it hadn't been for iOS. But I was surprised it was postponed. And actually, Eileen and I were supposed to go to that event yesterday.
Yeah.
And there was an Android Tech Talk scheduled here in San Diego for last night, which I was going to, and the plan was to discuss what had been announced yesterday, which was basically code word for ice cream sandwich. So I went to the tech event anyway, and they wound up just giving the same old kind of honeycomb talk that I had heard at Google I/O. in March. Although, you know, the developers, there was a couple of developer advocates, and they were discussing kind of all the stuff we know about Honeycomb already, the action bar and fragments, and they kept saying things like, and future versions of Android will also use this. So if you want to future-proof your app, you know, make sure that you use these new components. So it was a little bit of a hint of what's to come in Ice Cream Sandwich, which is just basically like that it's on the same track that Honeycomb was. But I was pretty disappointed, although, I mean, they need to get this thing out soon if they want to sell it for, you know, the holiday season.
Hey, Adam, do you think that that Google was going to take a bunch of pot shots over at Apple and say the iOS 5 just dropped and it's not spectacular, our phone is amazing, the stuff they're doing is catch up? Do you think is there a reason why they wouldn't just rewrite what they were going to do and then just, you know, kind of do this deference, or are they waiting to just really hammer the point that iOS 5 is just a joke compared to Ice Cream Sandwich?
I mean, I kind of imagine that I feel like the deference, it seems unlikely to me. I feel like there's another reason. Maybe, I don't know. And if they did, the thing is that if they can't talk about, say they can't talk about notifications, for example, unless their notifications have improved from what they are right now, because Apple may have taken notifications, but Apple kind of leapfrogged a little bit with notifications. And so I don't know. I mean, obviously they have been kind of pot-shotty in their more recent keynotes and announcements about Android-related things, but yeah, I don't know. It seems hard to believe that they postponed because of Steve Jobs, but who knows? You can't trust the press release, though.
Yeah, there's a rumor out there by Eldar Murtazan. He's the guy who broke a while ago on Twitter that Nokia was going to be bought by Microsoft, and his track record's a little iffy. He's claiming that the Nexus Prime was delayed because of patent issues, saying Google is removing some features which are subject to a patent war. No timeline for this job. Kevin, do you believe this thing? Do you think that Samsung and Google just weren't even aware that there was a patent concern, and they're like, oh, the day before we're going to cancel this because of a patent? Like they wouldn't know?
No, I mean, especially with recent developments, I tend to think that, you know, most of the time, if you have like a product like that, it costs a lot of money to move an announcement and a conference and all that kind of stuff. Redo your press, all that kind of things. I tend to think that they would just say, oh, we'll just release and apologize later. You know, easier than getting permission. There has to be some other reason. It doesn't seem. I think Adam's right. The apology / deference doesn't seem legit, but I also don't know that a last-minute patent issue would necessarily delay it either. Must be something else.
Wild speculation time. Anybody's got any ideas why they would delay this? Just boredom? Just because they wanted more of a? They just don't have the parts ready. Anybody? Nobody.
No.
Eileen?
I got nothing.
Anything?
I'm the only one that. Maybe I just feel like I'm the only one that believes the press release, I guess. Or I guess I want to believe the press release.
You want to believe
that there is some sort of sympathy out there, but I guess I feel like I'm the only one. Maybe I should be jumping on the conspiracy bandwagon.
You're like Mulder. I want to believe.
Yes.
Okay, that's cool. That's fine. You can believe that. But AT&T, at least they introduced some smartphones. They're like, hey, look, our future's Android. We don't have iPhone I can't even say the word exclusively anymore. And Verizon's had it for a while anyway. But they are banking on Android with the Atrix 2, which has got a pretty killer screen at 960 by 540. It's got a dual-core 1 gigahertz processor, gig of RAM, all that fancy stuff. This is their new flagship Android phone. Then there's the capacitive Glide from Samsung, which is Captivate, that is, excuse me. It's also capacitive. It's a slide-out QWERTY keyboard, and there's a nice little video from AT&T showing off all of their nice new phones, including the Pantech Pocket, a very odd, large 4-inch phone. It's very unusual. It's supposed to be all one-handed design for this. Do any of these phones have you guys forgetting about the Nexus Prime? I totally doubt that because that's supposed to be amazing.
Because wouldn't it be awesome if they came out with that announcement and they also said, and guess what, folks? We guarantee that in 6 months, these phones will all be running Android 4.0. But nobody ever does that. Nobody ever releases a phone and right before an update and says, and we're committed to making sure this phone gets updated. Which I always hope to see, or at least hear from some channel or another.
Well, they created that agreement that they were going to push out updates within 18 months.
Yeah.
Which, that's a long time. I really wonder if regular consumers really sort of internalize the difference between new hardware and new software. Like I think, I don't know, my sister-in-law bought a new phone which has Android on it and just kind of assumed that it was the newest version of Android because it's a new phone. And that's, which is a bummer. And then she couldn't install something, and it was because it didn't support this older version of Android. But I completely agree with you. I would love to hear something like that. I would love much more of a guarantee, like, hey, we have a brand new version of Android coming out, and all the new phones are going to have that version. It's one of the biggest problems, I think, with the Android ecosystem in general. Was
that 18-month agreement? Is that like a hard thing, or is that our partners have agreed to? Like they won't give you the Google apps, with Google until you say 18 months?
If I remember correctly, yeah, they won't. It's part of the with Google agreement that you will update in 18 months. And this agreement, I think, just kind of became part of things like I think a month or two ago. So they're just starting to roll this out.
So yeah, I mean, when that announcement was made, it all felt like a lot of wind because it was like, we have some partners, we're loosely moving in this direction, but it wasn't like, this is what's happening, these are specifically the phones that you can get. And it's a huge problem with Android stuff. It's one of those other things that makes the iPhone so much easier to understand for any consumer, to just be like, I will get this and I will be able to access updates when they're available, as soon as they're available. But yeah, I mean, I struggled for a really long time with a really crappy Android phone. It's miserable, and they need to get that whole situation under control.
I actually think the Motorola acquisition is going to help with that a lot, because I think Motorola is going to get phones out with the latest version of Android, and they're going to be awesome. And I think that's going to really, nudge other manufacturers to do the same.
That is what's exciting about any like Nexus phone too. Obviously, that's why everyone wants the Nexus, because it's the one that they actually know. Well, aside from the fact that they are doing a good job with like nice hardware, when sometimes that's lacking as well.
So speaking of which, Adam, you had the Nexus 4G for a little bit, and I had it also testing it. So it looks like the new phone is curved glass. Did you like the curved glass? Do any of you guys know anybody who says
curved glass? I did like it.
Okay.
Yeah, I was pretty happy with it. It wasn't. I don't know. It felt nice in the hand. It was a very smooth screen, and it didn't I guess stand out to me as strange. It was just. I mean, it's not like it's a basketball.
Yes,
the curve of the Nexus Prime, Nexus Prime does look a little more extreme than the Nexus S, but I have the Nexus S, and I love it. I don't really think about the curve very much. Like I don't.
Yeah, when you look at those pictures, the curve looks really extreme. I don't know if that's just an exaggerated thing with the highlight along the top of it, but you're right. I mean, looking at it looks strange, but using the other Nexus, I never had any issue with it.
Do you guys remember?
I'm assuming you did, Kevin?
I just I don't ever trust myself, because I like things that in terms of Android that others don't. But I liked it too. I wasn't sure if like they thought it would be such a huge hit, and it wasn't. The Nexus 4G on Sprint, I think, is a free phone right now. So I just never know how others perceive things like that.
Do you guys remember when the G1 came out, the first Android phone, it had that banana shape. It had that chin that came out, and you could actually use it like a real phone. So when you did this, it still looked the same. Do you think, is there some kind of like push to make a phone look like a phone with Google for some reason? Do they really want this thing to be curved to your head? I mean, is that really that big a deal? Because I know they said, oh yeah, the curve is good for your fingers when you want to do touchscreen stuff, but maybe they just want ergonomics?
They just need a design differentiation. They just need something to say, hey, look, this is new and cool and it's curved, so it's better.
Than Nexus in your pocket. Are you happy to see me? That's the problem.
Yeah.
This is why they have to be flat. Otherwise, it just looks very bizarre in your pants. So,
that's true. That's a good point.
You got to think of these things. I mean, unless you're going to be carrying it like a bandolier or something, something across your chest.
That's your bag strap, right?
That's the next tablet version, which would be right across over there. So Google Plus. Anybody still using Google Plus? I'm assuming that everyone here is using Google Plus. What was that? What was that horrible reaction?
Oh, just a book I'm working on, Chapter 6 right now. It's okay. Nobody's using Google Plus, I guess.
Yeah, there was a report out from a company called, I think it's called Chitika, which I keep wanting to call Chiquita, that they're saying that Google Plus traffic is down 60% after they went public. So there's a nice graph which I'm trying to load very slowly.
If I was our boss at Lifehacker, I would ask about the where they get their stats from.
There we go. So there's the graph.
Yeah, here's the thing. I've spent way too much time in my life obsessing about like ups and downs of visits and traffic, and every time I don't know, Chitika or whatever, maybe their measurements are 100% right, but every time I see like Compete says this person's gone down this much, and like whatever the various stat trackers, they never, whenever they're related to things that I actually know about, they're wrong. So so I don't know. The Google people seem to argue that, and in this instance, for those sorts of things, I tend to believe them.
+1.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, the Google Plus team continues to grow the network, and they're. I mean, it's hard to say. My experience is totally subjective, and it could be that I just have encircled mostly tech nerds and journalists. But it seems like things are, still really active in my own stream. I enjoy using it. It's a different feeling than Twitter and Facebook, but I don't know. I am dubious about these numbers as well.
And Mike Elgin on Google Plus basically tore this thing apart, saying the figure represents not the decline of Google Plus, but the decline of newspaper trustworthiness. And he explains what happened. He explained that Google Plus was invite only on the day they opened the floodgates to the public, immediately spiked by 1,200%. These new people were mostly enthusiastic new users, but a minority were tire kickers who didn't stick around. And he basically tears this whole thing apart, saying it should have read traffic increases 5-fold as Google Plus opens to the public. Because if you look back at the graph again, you'll see that when it opened on the 20th, a lot of people showed up. That makes sense. Why wouldn't people try it out anyway? Versus sticking around. I mean, this is... I was kind of, I wanted to believe this, and here's why. I'm like one of those Google Plus hipsters. Like, I was there before it was cool, And you'd have a public post, or you have a hangout or something, and like you'd know the people that would show up. But now everyone's there. Absolutely everybody's there, and they're like, hey, what's going on? And they have all kinds of comments. It's like the internet again. So I kind of like being closed off.
I think the reality is that that the growth pattern for a small unknown startup launching a new social network is going to be that steady up, right? But when Google releases something, you're always going to have that initial spike, especially when it's invite only. So you get that like Gmail wave rush of people who are just dying for an invite to try it out. And then when it opens to the public, it goes back up again. I just think it's unrealistic to think that this traffic pattern is indicative of failure. I think this is just like, this is what happens when Google releases an invite-only product and then opens it to the public. And Google's just, it's a big target, easy target. So I think it's easy to see stories like this saying, hey, it's dead.
The other thing is it's not... I mean, it's not as though Google Plus doesn't have its problems. I don't think anyone would argue that it's perfect, but I don't think that this chart is indicative of anything that you could actually extract a meaningful analysis from.
Has Google released any...
the conclusion they reached.
Has Google released any information about actual statistics? I mean, I know we've seen stuff from, I think it was Paul Allen from Ancestry.com, and we've seen those kinds of speculative kind of numbers. But has Google said anything in particular?
Not that I know of.
No, I haven't Google
seen
itself.
anything specific.
They're committed to it, though. I mean, they're now listing the number of circles and authors in Google search results, which I thought was a really big. And +1 is integrated across all of their products. I mean, this is, I'm convinced that Google is like full steam ahead on Google Plus, committed to integrating this everywhere. And just the power of having it in that black bar across your Google homepage is huge. I don't know if many people are going to have the choice, but to check it out or use it in some capacity, even if it's sort of, this like passive sharing kind of a la Facebook, just through +1s and kind of saying, hey, what's that red button?
Well, there was a post that went out publicly by a Google engineer named Steve Yegi, and he basically tore apart Google+. It's funny that you said that they took time doing it, because he called Google Plus a knee-jerk reaction, a study in short-term thinking predicated on the incorrect notion that Facebook is successful because they built a great product. And then it goes on a bit there. I just want to like read some of these quotes and just find out what you guys think of this, because I was reading this and my jaw was dropped because it just seemed a little bit little harsh. But the actual posts have been taken down because this was meant to be a private post and has been published everywhere. So what do you guys think about it being a knee-jerk reaction?
So Adam really dug into this. Yeah, sorry, Adam.
No, go ahead, Kevin.
I was just going to say that in part, just to kind of explain it, it seems like he's really targeting the Google Plus platform more than saying Google Plus itself was a knee-jerk reaction, unless I read it wrong.
Right. So the basic idea in it, from what I understood, was he's not attacking. It's not an attack on Google Plus primarily. Not specifically or primarily. In fact, it's more about the Google culture. And his issue is with Google as a company culture that makes products that stand alone, basically these silos. And he's talking up the one thing that he felt or the one of three things he felt Amazon did very well during his time at Amazon, which was create services and platforms that could talk to each other, and that developers both inside the company and outside could create things on top of. And so his argument with Facebook is that Facebook created one killer app, which is the wall, the sharing, the social things, and then the rest of the good things about Facebook are all things that developers have brought to the platform, mostly third-party developers. And Google launched with something that was very much a product. It's very siloed. It didn't have an API, and now the API that it has is very, I mean, Gina, you can talk about that a little bit more, but it's not really robust at this point. And yeah, so his argument basically is that Google as a company, and in particular with Google Plus, needs to expand their thinking towards services over individual products.
Gina, do you think it's a knee-jerk? I doubt it.
Yeah, I mean, like Adam said, I think that the overall thesis was that Google has to concentrate on platforms over products, and so that they're trying to win with Google Plus by making a great product, but they really have to make it a great platform. You know, this guy worked at Amazon for several years, now works at Google, so I certainly don't have the perspective that he does, but this didn't seem right to me. I mean, Google Wave launched, and it was too much of a platform and not enough of a product. And, you know, I've worked with the Google Plus API. I mean, the Google Plus has been out for a couple of months now, and the API is limited. But if you just log into the Google APIs console, there's tons of APIs for many of Google's services, if not all. So I don't know. I don't see Google as having trouble with making platforms. I think that, you know, we're so late in the social game at this point, Google has to make a compelling product, or else they're going to make the same mistake they made with Wave, which was like, here's a thing and you can do everything on it. You know, developers, come build on it. And it just flopped. I mean, the way that Facebook and Twitter grew is that they made this great small little product and then they grew it into a platform. But I don't know if, you know, that's, you know, Google is on such an accelerated launch you know, kind of timeline just because they're Google. I think they have to make a compelling product first and then extend the platform out. So far, the Google Plus API is pretty good. It has a long way to go, but it's been only a few weeks so far that it's been out. So I don't know. I kind of disagree. I kind of disagreed with his thesis that Google, you know, maybe internally Google needs to concentrate on platform more. And this was a post meant for other Google employees. So it was interesting. You know, he described how Bezos at Amazon had kind of issued this edict that every single small team within Amazon had to communicate with one another using services that would eventually be public facing. So you had to build an API for everything, or else you couldn't use services that other, you know, products that other groups were making. And how that really shows, because Amazon is such an incredible, you know, service provider and platform, and it is, and that Google should adopt a similar model so that, you know, in order for the groups to communicate with one another, they have to create these services that then developers can use. And that sounds like that sounds like a great idea, and that does sound like a huge cultural change inside Google. I would just love to know what this employee's boss thought about this post, because it is interesting that it got taken down, but it got reshared, and the share is public. The original.
I would have
post.
loved to have written a letter when I was at Lifehacker saying that, you know, Lifehacker Deals is a prime example of our complete failure to understand platforms from the very highest levels of executive leadership. Hi, Adam, Gina, Nick Denton, howdy. Like, it shows something about Google's culture. And then he even mentioned somewhere else in this really long post that he wrote like a spreadsheet about all the ways that Google loses to Amazon or something, and he gave it to HR, and they loved it, but marketing wouldn't let him distribute or something like that.
It was all the ways Google's better than Amazon.
Oh, sorry, flipped around.
Recruiting liked it because it would, yeah.
But still, it's just amazing that this is something you could write internally and expect not to get fired for.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of nice that it is.
He does say on his Google Plus profile, he has a post up, and it's basically saying that no one told him to take it down. It was a call he made himself and deleted because he hadn't intended to make it public in the first place. But yeah, for whatever that's worth.
Yeah, when Google Plus launched, I'm just thinking about some things that were missing. There's a company right now called Topsy, and they will allow you to search Google Plus for public posts. You guys remember when Google Plus launched how there was no search built in? Because I remember that. There was some ways around that. You could do the site search, and you could do it via some extra syntax in Google searches. But I mean, it looks like people are like Topsy and other companies like that think that there's a future here in Google Plus. Like there's a reason why they want to actually scour through these things. I just know that this is a welcome thing. I know that Google just added it as well. They had the search in there. It's. I could see some of the negative stuff that Steve put in his post and why he was kind of lashing out a bit on some of this stuff because it seems not fully there. Are you guys going to try out Topsy, or did you enjoy the fact that search is now there are more options for search?
Topsy is kind of a version of Google Sparks that they think works better. Like that's what Google Plus Sparks are kind of supposed to do is let you search through and kind of keep track of topics on Google Plus, but Topsy seems, for what I've seen of it, to kind of be like what they think is a better implementation of it.
I think that's scary that you use Sparks because I think maybe our audience may be the only one that knows what that is.
Didn't they rename Sparks?
Yeah, even I was a little taken off guard when you said Sparks.
Yes.
Does anyone want to try to explain to Google Sparks? Which I like this idea. You'd be able to go into Google Plus, and then you'd pick a topic that you're interested in, and then you'd see some curated content. Be a great way to start conversations. You want to reshare all that stuff because there's no easy way to share stuff on Google Plus once you're off of Google properties, not including Google Reader, where you can't share things directly. That's a whole other problem, isn't it? But yeah, that's what Sparks is supposed to be. It's a very small, curated kind of thing.
It's save searches, basically, right?
Kind of. Well, you can tell what topic you want. It's taking forever to load. I picked technology, and then I click it, and it loads. And let's see what happens.
Or like a Google News section.
Let's make sure everybody sees everything on my. Let's see. That's private. That's private. Excuse me.
Iyaz, I wing it.
No, I'm just teasing. There's nothing over there that's going to get me fired yet. But yeah, there we go. There's some technology posts by my friends on Google Plus. It's a great idea, but nobody really knows it's there. Like you just actually have to pick a Spark. How do you add Sparks anyway?
I think if you do a search, you can save a search as Sparks, and I think they actually are still calling it Sparks.
I'll do a search for Lifehacker. Okay, and then I can say save the search, and there it is. There's my Spark. Now I can see.
And you should see every post where someone has just written the word Lifehacker, or if Lifehacker was a person, it would show you every post that person's been tagged in publicly, that kind of thing. So it is supposed to be kind of like, it kind of seems like what Topsy's trying to get at, but
we still don't have a timeline when businesses can be there, general businesses anyway, because I know there's a few partnerships out there, but Google Plus, Google hasn't said anything about when Lifehacker can have actually have a page, when TWiT can, when Smarterware anybody hear any rumblings about that?
I would say it's likely going to be very soon.
Very soon? Without breaking an NDA? Very soon?
That's my guess.
Why so? I thought you were going to say because if they're doing all this stuff with APIs, that probably seems like they're building.
Actually, I do think I think that it's I can't give specifics, but we were talking to them right away and really desperate to get one. Especially Lifehacker readers are really strong on Google Plus, and so yeah, I actually don't know anything 100% specific, but I think it's going to be very soon.
But now it sounds like you really do.
Yeah, that's what I did.
Yeah. Okay. Just checking.
And Google.
Speaking of search, they're enabling hashtags, linked hashtags, and I'm sorry that Jeff Jarvis isn't here because he's a huge hashtag fan, but they're going to start hyperlinking. That's a throwback term. They're going to start automatically hyperlinking hashtags a la Twitter. So if you click on them, then you see a search for hashtags, which is really interesting for a lot of reasons. So that they don't have that deal for the real-time search results with Twitter anymore in search results because so they have this live search results and hashtag support. So you can imagine being on your Google TV and watching the premiere of Glee and having, the Google Plus stream of Glee, hashtag posts kind of running down the side or across the bottom of your screen. And that's something that I, do manually with Twitter now. But you can see that, that they might want to move that kind of functionality over to Google Plus. And really interesting to me that they're using hashtags, which really started as kind of a Twitter convention, but the inventor of hashtags, Chris Messina, works at Google now, so it's not too surprising. So I assume that we're going to see real-time search results from Plus inside of Google search results soon, and that hashtags are just will be used even more.
I get text messages with hashtags in them. I see people using them on Facebook. They're almost kind of just a fact of online life now.
It's true.
I was going to say, kudos to Gina to get the Glee mention.
Well, we have some viewers who play a drinking game.
Earlier when we were talking about the Google Plus rush, I was going to say it's like when Chipotle opens and everyone goes during the first week, and then, but I decided against it. But then I kind of didn't.
Exactly.
All right, now we got 2 drinks.
That's two different games, Chipotle and Glee. So if you're really, really having a bad day, Glee. There you go.
Habermas.
Or you could do you see that Google did a Google Plus Hangout ad in a newspaper, which I find this very odd. The New York Times, it's a small publication in a very tiny town called New York. Anyway, the New York Times is a full-page ad. Well, it's a full page, but there's a little bit of text. It's about the Dalai Lama not being able to go to Desmond Tutu's 80th birthday party, but then he was allowed to because they corrected the actual ad there. You could see it with a little red pen there. It says he was able to join in a hangout thanks to Google Plus. I really want to know if you guys think that the New York Times audience has any idea what that ad means.
That's a good question.
Like that's a print ad.
It seemed kind of an obtuse ad, didn't it? Like for someone who doesn't know what a Hangout is. It's true.
It is a rather subtle ad.
And the Google Plus logo, like the plus sign after Google, I mean, obviously everyone knows what the Google logo is, but I don't know that you're like, oh, Google Plus, that's like another product, for someone who doesn't know. It's like an odd ad.
Yeah, I mean, they didn't do anything like interesting. There's not even a QR code. I mean, that I think would be more obtuse if it was simply a QR code. But there's a tiny URL on the bottom. I'm just confused about this. I mean, if they're trying to get people on Google Plus, I mean, maybe this is the audience they want, but I mean, would this ad get you to go, yes, I will learn about what a Hangout is. This is via Hangout. It doesn't even explain what that is. This is joined at the 80th birthday celebration via Hangout. Like,
it is definitely probably one of the coolest breakout features of Google Plus, and in every sense of the word breakout, because you could kind of almost use Hangouts without even really being a Google Plus fan. You just have to add the right people to your circle or just do all your Hangouts publicly. But the group video chat feature of Google Plus is probably like one of its biggest appeals beyond the I don't like Facebook or I want a different kind of sharing market. So it's a good direction to aim an ad in, but that is really subtle for even a supposedly higher educated audience.
Well, hopefully they get a lot of people's attention. I know that the Hangouts are being used by Felicia Day nowadays to promote a new show. I think it's called Dragon's Age, but I don't want to say the wrong name.
Dragon Age.
And what she'll be doing is a 3-hour marathon session where she'll hang out with as many people as she can. She's calling it Hangout House Calls. That's coming up on Tuesday. So if you want to hang out with Felicia Day, I guess you just have to set up a hangout, and she's going to just keep showing up. What do you guys think of this as a marketing kind of idea? Just showing up to talk to, I guess, fans. So it's like you got a new show, and you just show up. Is this going to be? Are we going to see like, oh, great tweets about this later, or Google Plus messages saying this is fantastic, or are they going to say this was a disaster because it was very awkward?
I actually think that this happened yesterday, and I didn't get a chance to see how it went. I mean, I think Felicia's super savvy social media user, and she's got tons of fans and followers. And I think a lot of them are really shy nerds who, would be scared to ask her for a photo in person if they saw her, but would love to get a screen cap of a video chat with her.
Thanks for the correction. It was yesterday.
Yeah, I think it was yesterday. So I wonder if she posted an update. I would love to know how it went. I would love to see our political candidates do this kind of thing. Or just anyone who kind of wanted to reach out to fans in a way that was manageable, but not, well, I mean, it's nice to not have to, leave your computer, right, and be able to connect with people individually. Although I imagine it was a bit of an awkward and long 3 hours for her.
I think that what is happening here and what Google knows what they're doing is that, like with Twitter, I can broadcast on Twitter, and a lot of us can broadcast on Twitter because we have a certain critical mass of followers that's not normal. So that's not the ability to broadcast on Twitter. I don't think is why most people sign up for Twitter to start out. I think most people sign up because they want to follow Felicia Day, or they want to follow various celebrities, and Google is playing that up big time. I think specifically with Hangouts because it does give them the opportunity to show what is cool about Google Plus, and it actually draws a lot of people in. So they've had some Will.i.am promotions and then things like this. This is the kind of thing that is their best bet to draw in people, like Kevin said, who aren't the privacy crowd or whatever, the very specific things that it definitely does better than others. This is the thing that's going to attract people and be like, oh, I can hang out with a celebrity I think is cool? Awesome. I will sign up for and maybe stick around at Google+.
This had to be like a chat roulette session for Felicia. She did 40 Hangouts in 3 hours. But I'm sure that it was a little nerve-wracking to click that join button for her.
40 Hangouts or 40 different guests in the Hangout?
She says 40 different Hangouts.
Hardcore.
Yeah. It's the ears.
That is impressive.
If you have screenshots, post the links on her post. I could see, like Gina was saying, potentially chat roulette danger. I would hope that you have some kind of screener, because you don't want to necessarily see something you don't want to see right away.
Yeah.
On that note, we should thank our sponsor, Gotomeeting. Twig is brought to you by Gotomeeting. With everyone working on the go, holding an impromptu meeting, it's virtually impossible, but not anymore. With Gotomeeting by Citrix, you can host your meeting online from your computer while your attendees join from any computer or iPad. And now get this, from an iPhone or Android mobile device too. So if you have any of those things, you can go to a meeting. Just visit the App Store or Android Market to download the free app to start joining Gotomeeting sessions from anywhere. With the free Gotomeeting app, anyone can attend your online meeting. They just tap the email invitation and they'll join instantly. It's that easy. That's why TWiT relies on Gotomeeting no matter where we go. It lets me see the host desktop right from my smartphone or a tablet. I can attend meetings on the go. I could be in a taxi, waiting in a line at an airport. I can just be in a meeting pretty much wherever I want to be. You can use Gotomeeting for product reviews and demos and sales presentations, training sessions, weekly status meetings, anything you want, all right from your desktop or mobile device. You can sign up today for a free 30-day trial of Gotomeeting. Hold all your meetings you want for one low flat rate. Phone and voice over IP conferencing is included for free. Visit gotomeeting.com, click on the Try It Free button, and enter promo code TWIG because you're watching Twig, so that's how you remember that. And you'll try it out for 30 days. So try out Gotomeeting at gotomeeting.com. Promo code, again, is TWIG. And actual search news. Apparently Google had a good September. They apparently had a lousy August when it came to market share, when it came to searches. Because if you guys forgot, Google does searches. They're not just an advertising company that does social networks and makes phone operating systems, but they've gained some market share back, and I'm patiently waiting for the thing to load on my computer to tell me the number. 65%. They dipped down below 65%, and they went back up to, well, they went back beyond 65%. So that's what they did. Is anybody surprised that Google's market share is diminishing to things like Yahoo, and obviously Yahoo's powered by Bing? Or are all these searches fungible at this point? They stumped everybody.
Yeah.
Stumped everybody.
Sorry. Yeah, there we go.
Forget that then. Let's go to google.com and go to the Google Doodle. That'll wake everybody up. If you go to google.com, you'll see little clay balls.
Oh, Gumby.
Yes, exactly, because it is Art Clokey's 90th birthday. He made Gumby. He also made, if you've watched a lot of television when you were a kid like me, you've seen Davy and Goliath. He was behind all that stuff. And
my God, I love claymation.
Yeah, so they got a claymation.
Yeah. How awesome is this?
Click on the balls. They all do awesome things.
Let's see.
I've totally started to come around on people against folks who are complaining that Google doesn't have like a standardized system for what they choose to celebrate, because you can click on the clay and it turns into Gumby, people. I mean, like the argument being if you've been following Twig for a while, that they choose weird things to celebrate, and they don't necessarily choose some like major things or things that are just commonly celebrated and recognized. But this is awesome. I mean,
there's a challenge in the chat room. Can you name all the characters that are on there? I can only name Gumby, Pokey, and the Blockheads. But I don't remember.
Pokey is the best I could do past Gumby.
Who's this little Stegosaurus dude? I can't remember his name. Or this Gumby's sister. I think that's Gumby's sister. If only I could use some kind of search engine to look up Gumby characters. If only. I don't know their names.
This is really, really interesting, actually. If I paste a link in here to Skype, can you see it? Can we bring that up at all? This is the background.
In the doc.
If you put it in the doc.
The doc chat.
I'm just putting it right at the top because I don't. So if you go to that URL, the way that they're doing the animations, I was kind of curious. They've got a background image for each of those little balls, and when you click it, it animates through the background position. So it's got like the whole animation in one image. It's kind of neat. It's very cool.
That is really neat. That is really neat. It is true stop motion.
And that's probably how they got their market share back, actually, by having lots of fun animations.
Straight up stop motion.
You don't need to actually offer great search results. Just have really cool animations that make you play. When they had Pac-Man there, I lost a whole day.
Yeah, that aren't Flash, right? That are HTML5. Yeah, that Pac-Man doodle. I still want my...
I think that's still around. You can find it somewhere else. They also had I think one where you could record music for Les Paul's birthday, which was... I know it's not a birthday. I guess anniversary of his birth, because everyone is all dead. But I didn't want to bring everybody down because I've already done that a couple times. The chat room's correcting me like crazy. Like they're like, Art's dead. I'm like, yes, I know he's dead. Sorry, I can't bring him back. So, Hulu is still for sale, and apparently Google's still in the running. Now, Yahoo just bowed out because they're having all kinds of problems, as I'm sure everyone knows. They have an interim CEO. They're trying to figure out if they're going to be go into sale with a private equity firm, or what are they going to do. But Google's still out there, and they seem to be interested in Hulu only if they get certain conditions. They want some exclusive rights, exclusive content rights that are guaranteed for years. Adam, do you think that Google going into Hulu or buying Hulu is the best thing for them to do? I mean, they seem to already have deals with a bunch of content partners for YouTube. Why would they necessarily even need something like Hulu?
So what I don't actually understand with this is, obviously there's pretty clear reasons why they would want Hulu. But if they bought Hulu, do you think it would stay as its own product? Or do you think it would integrate with? It would just become a YouTube channel of an elevated YouTube channel of some sort?
I would think that after what they did with Google Videos and YouTube, that to have two separate entities might be a mess for them at this point. Yeah, because
it creates one. Yeah, it creates one place where they can send all their people and integrating with things like Google TV. Because you also imagine that they're thinking some point down the future where you could, because right now Google TV is best for. Or it can do web video, but it can also do your cable box. But this could potentially bring the cable box, or take the cable box part out of the equation, because that web video would do the same thing for you.
Kevin, do you think Google would merge YouTube and Hulu, or would they keep them separate? I mean, Hulu does actually have a bit of goodwill to its name, and people know it already. I mean, people know YouTube.
What Adam just said, but with the cynical footnote that like once Google tries to do that, every network and carrier tries to shut them down for trying to do it. Every cable company, I mean that's their worst nightmare really, is that you would have Hulu integrated into a set-top box that you get from your carrier, and then you can just at any time come home and watch reruns with a reduced ad rate, with cheaper ads that they weren't able to place as easily. So it's kind of what some of the tech savvy among us are already doing with Roku's and DIY boxes and stuff. But it would be a smart ploy if they could figure out some way to make peace with everybody.
So if they could buy Hulu and they could preload it on their Motorola tablets, and then they could preload it on Google TV, unless
Google
they want to.
TV.
They could block themselves and to basically be jerks to themselves, like has been going on. Gina, what's your opinion on this? Do you think Google, the fact that they want all these conditions to buy Hulu, do you think they're actually still a serious competitor? Because they want exclusive deals for a long term, and that seems like something that the content companies just don't want to give them.
Yeah, I don't know. I would love to see Hulu kind of come under their Google umbrella and keep their name and get integrated right into my Google TV. I'm one of the 10 people who actually has Google TV and uses it. So I'd love to see that happen. I don't know.
Yeah, the other thing about keeping them separate is that it makes it a little clearer that Hulu is where you go to watch TV and YouTube is where you go to watch user-generated video, even though that's not actually the case. Can anyone remember what's the name of the partner, the music video?
Vivo.
They partnered with Vivo. So
Vivo.
So it could be a Vivo situation where it comes in and it's like Hulu branded but it's in Google. But in ways it does make, I think, still a lot of sense to keep Hulu as a separate entity.
Kind of do too.
But who knows? Because there's also the issue of YouTube, in a way that a lot of Google products aren't, has a really, really, and like Google Plus is, I'm sure, trying to get to be, it has a really strong community. YouTube comments aside, it's a very, very active social network. So you could see wanting to integrate the social aspects of YouTube, but then also they have competing networks like Google Plus that I'm sure they kind of want to get to become the de facto network of their various properties. So who knows?
Yeah, it's interesting. You can rent and buy or stream movies and TV from the Android market now, right, to your Android device. And it's true, I still associate YouTube with kitten videos from Japan or whatever, user-generated videos. So it'll be interesting to see how they fit Hulu in. I think that, I think that you're right. It'd be interesting to see. I would like to see Google have a property that's like, this is where I go to, to watch TV or to even rent or buy episodes.
I want Google to buy it just because of the irony aspect of this. Hulu was created to kill all this piracy on YouTube. All our content's being stolen. Nobody's going to watch us. We're going to create our own thing. And we're going to kill YouTube. Yeah, no, you didn't. You didn't kill YouTube. You're going to get bought by YouTube. That, I think, would just be kind of funny to see in the long run. But I'm kind of curious about, considering how Google also, back to what Adam was talking about when it comes to the whole social aspect of Hulu. The fact that you can use Facebook Connect with it. Google and Facebook haven't exactly been pals, and Google wants to scrape Facebook's data. They do. Facebook's got to deal with Bing about it. I wonder if they would do it, if they did buy Hulu, if they would try to continue that relationship with Facebook? Would they just change the button to sign in with Google Plus or sign in with a Google account? It could be an interesting kind of backdoor way to get into a relationship with Facebook if they wanted. Because, real-time search and social search is, I think that's a big deal. What your friends think is kind of a big deal. Anyone have any thoughts on the idea of Google working with Facebook via Hulu?
Oh, God, all your IDs do belong to us, right? It's like...
The utopia would be then that I could share Hulu watching habits with my close friends circle, and nobody else can see them. Because I had an incident recently where my wife and I share a Hulu account, and a lot of people think I like Grey's Anatomy now, so would really...
We know you like Grey's, Kevin. Come on.
I watch it over the laptop. I'm doing work, Gina.
Oh,
wow.
The fear of showing
Liz
off.
is watching it.
My obsession with Hell's Kitchen, even though it's the same episode, every single episode, I'll watch all 7 seasons over and over again, or 9 seasons. Yeah, I guess that could be embarrassing. Maybe I should disconnect that kind of thing. It's kind of like with Spotify. I make sure that my information is not going on Facebook. Oh yeah, sometimes we talk about Facebook on this show. Facebook launched an iPad app. Is everyone excited? Because I heard it's not very good. It just crashes over and over again. Gina, you tried the Facebook app. You liked it or you didn't like it? Because I heard it's crashing all the time.
I liked it, and I was really relieved. You know, the only iOS device I have is an iPad, so I get really, really ticked off when apps don't, you know, that are in 2x, that small little frame. So I feel the same way about Google Plus. So I liked it. I haven't spent a lot of time on it because I'm not a huge Facebook person, but I do like to pop in once in a while. So I haven't had too much crashing happening, but I'm a casual Facebook user, I'll admit.
Is anyone else just waiting for the Google Plus official iPad app, or is the Google? I think the web app's really good. I mean, I don't even know if there's a need for it, other than the fact if you just want to have a dedicated icon you can get from the App Store. I mean, do you guys think there's a reason now that Facebook has gone ahead and finally made their iPad app official? Will Google actually come out with a Google Plus iPad app soon, or are they going to, I don't know, maybe do that for honeycomb or ice cream sandwiches? They already have those things.
It's probably a little bit lower on their to-do list for Google Plus, I imagine. You know, in terms of the things they want to fix and things they want to get in place. Facebook took a long time with their iPad app, and it's not like people started quitting over it. I mean, to my knowledge.
Yeah, and I actually don't imagine. I can't imagine it making. They're not hurrying most of the time to the iPhone stuff, but I could see very easily an Android tablet version of Google Plus.
Yeah, that's definitely going to happen. That's no doubt going to happen pretty soon. You know, the thing is, the reason why I want the iPad app for Google Plus is that the account switching gets kind of like wonky for me. I'm a Google Apps user primarily, but I switched to my vanilla Gmail account to log into Plus, which is a whole other annoying thing about Plus. They don't support apps users yet, so the web app gets kind of funky for me. So I'd really like to just have a native app to log into on my iPad, but I think that they're going to probably release the honeycomb / ice cream sandwich tablet layout version of the Google Plus app first.
Yeah.
And let's thank another one of our sponsors, Vast. Now, this episode of Twig is brought to you by Vast. Vast Conference is the ultimate in professionalism, clarity, and flexibility for your conference calls, all at a low price. For 2 Vast conference calls, you can try that out. We'll explain some more about it before you go try it out. If you're like most of us and you want to try to be professional in your business, professionalism really begins with those all-important conference calls, because you don't want some weird VoIP, Skypey thing happening while you're actually on a call with a prospective client. So what makes a call professional? A dial-in number. Some people, they don't want to just have to sign up for an account and do an audio thing. You can have a dial-in number that give out for calls at a moment's notice, clear connections when you and your participants dial in. The popping and delays of VoIP, that doesn't happen on Vast. And for large calls, you can manage call participants online. Now, I want to tell you about a company that's put it all together, and that's Vast. Vast Conference is a professional, affordable, and quite advanced. It enables you to quickly connect 2 or more callers on the phone. Many conference calls have 3 to 5 participants, but get this, Vast supports up to 300 callers at once. So if you wanted to have some kind of like giant conference call, Vast can handle that. They give you both a regular dial-in number and a toll-free number, and you use these to set up calls at any time. Vast calls are clear because they are using fiber optic lines and high-end teleconferencing equipment, something you just can't get from VoIP. Vast includes a well-designed conference call management interface, which you can use on their website to manage your users and callers. And for large calls, you can even have a question and answer session. It'll be right on the website. You can record calls as MP3. So let's say you want to just use it as a podcasting tool. You could even do that. Have people call in as your guests. You can use Vast for this kind of thing because it'll record an MP3 for you. So that's doing all the work for you. You can also access detailed usage tracking and billing codes for internal accounting if that's what you're using this for. Vast also comes with a friendly, very, very friendly and enthusiastic customer service team. They call it above and beyond customer service, and they're right to call it that. The pricing for this professional conference service is low. It's pay as you go, 2.5 cents per minute for regular toll calls and 6 cents per minute for 800 number calls. You decide whether to give out a regular call-in or a toll-free number, so your rate will vary depending on what number you give them. Sign-up is fast and easy, and there are no commitments or contracts. You only pay for calls you host. Now, Vast is giving our audience an exclusive 2 business calls for free, up to 300 minutes, to give you a chance to try out the service. Go to vastconference.com and sign up for a free account. It's fast, it's easy. They'll give you a regular toll number and a toll-free number, so you can start using this for your calls right away. Remember to use the promo code TWIG and get your 2 business calls for free. That's vastconference.com, promo code TWIG, and you can go out there and have conference calls with just everybody for a very low rate. We thank Vast Conference for their support of Twig. And now it's time for Gina's tip.
My tip. It's a really simple one this week, but it's something that I use all the time. I constantly use Google as a dictionary to define words. You can use the define keyword in the Google search box to get definitions right in the Google One box, which is little bits of information that give you your answer right away, like weather and flights. They added synonyms. This made the writer in me really happy. They added synonyms to the definitions one box. So if you do something like, if you say like define, obviate, you get the definition of the verb, and then you get synonyms: avoid, prevent, evade, avert. So when you're looking for a word other than, awesome or something that gets overused, you can get that straight in the one box in Google search results by using the definition tool. And I mentioned this earlier today, but I also noticed, this is new to me, but they're including the number of circles that authors of web pages are in search results. So if you search for something that Adam authored at Lifehacker, for example, you can see how many circles he's in on Google Plus if he has that information public on his profile. So that's kind of interesting too. So Google search results getting a little better.
That seems really cool. I use Google as a dictionary far too often than I'd like to admit. But synonyms would be used too. But yeah, the circles thing, that's a cool little feature. And normally we have Jeff Jarvis with a number, but we are going to throw that number segment to Kevin.
Okay. Stop me if you've heard this number before, but I don't think so. 44%, and that is the number of searches for last-minute holiday gifts that Google says will be made on mobile devices. It's a little bit of a trick number because in some ways they're kind of saying that 44% of all searches around the holidays will be mobile, and so therefore you can kind of fudge the numbers that way to make it look like that. But they also have some other interesting numbers in a post they did recently on their mobile blog, where they found that basically the tablet audience, the people who are shopping for holiday gifts on their tablets, are 45% likely to buy before Thanksgiving and 17% likely to buy after Thanksgiving on like Black Friday. If smartphone buyers, though, they're only 34% likely to buy before Thanksgiving and 35% likely to buy after Thanksgiving. So Google is telling you iPad owners that you're doing great. You're ahead of the curve. You're totally on top of your holiday shopping. Whereas smartphone buyers, we're on Amazon and Newegg on Friday trying to fill in the last of our list. That's not really what they're saying, but there's a lot of interesting statistics about mobile use and shopping on Google's mobile blog, I believe.
Not to put you on the spot, Adam, but do you happen to have a tip? But considering you're at Lifehacker, you might actually have one off the top of your head. If you don't worry about it. It's a secret tip. It's quiet. We can't hear it. It's muted. It must be earth-shattering.
Okay.
There it goes. Okay. Otherwise, I was ready for charades. I was gearing up. Okay.
Okay. So I didn't know if there was going to be a number today. So just now I scrambled and I have a very good one. So I'm going to piggyback on the number.
Go for it.
Earlier this week, Google released the Chrome Remote Desktop extension, which you install on your Chrome browser and someone else installs on their Chrome browser, and you can remotely control their desktop using just Chrome. You basically give them a code that's generated when you launch the extension. They paste it into their browser, and then they can control your entire desktop. It's a remote desktop thing. 19.1 is the number of megabytes that the extension download is, which is, I think, probably the biggest extension I've ever installed. But
it's a pretty
like a
hefty
third
extension.
That's a big part of a Chromebook hard drive.
And it works really well.
Yeah, the Chromebook hard drive is like 8 megabytes? So I don't know if it's going to fit. We got a problem.
I've seen the original tester unit. I thought I saw numbers saying it was like 85, 65 megs or something. So yeah, that would be, about a third of your hard drive.
All right, so.
And I like that the extension needs all the data on your computer and all the websites that you visit. It's like, just give us everything if you want to use this.
Those app access things are very daunting. They always seem very scary. Yeah, I mean, if you want access for anything, like if you do a script that wants to read anything on any page, then it's all your tabs and browsing and data on your stuff.
In some ways, for the Chrome Remote extension, the permission should just be your computer. Like, you install this, and guess what? Someone's going to have your computer.
At least, to being honest, it could just say, you don't want to know.
Right.
Just if you trust us, do it. If you don't, just don't.
There's the new EULA. Trust us.
Trust us.
Capitalism's a dirty world, kid.
And I've got a tool for you guys. It's for Google Chrome. Now I don't like putting extensions that affect Google Plus because it's not fully rolled out still. I mean, even though back then it was in a private what do they call their thing, field testing or something like that. And so I finally got an addition for Google Plus, and this is for Google Chrome. It hides the Google Plus notification. The actual extension is called Hide Google Plus Notification. And if you're like me, you see that black bar on the top of pretty much everything you are using. I use Google Docs for everything, including my email, and the documents for our shows and things are there. And I get so easily distracted when that black bar turns red. When that tiny little thing turns red. So I have to click it, and then somebody's written something, I get infuriated, and I start going off and doing something else, and then I forgot that I was supposed to be doing work, and then forget it. What this thing does, it actually takes away that little number on every property except Google+, which makes a lot of sense. So if you're in email, or if you're in a rundown for, I don't know, a show, you won't see that number there anymore. So even though there's all kinds of ways to turn off certain notifications, when somebody adds you to a circle, get a little number. There's 2, there's 3, or you forgot about some stupid comment, or in my case, some stupid comment I wrote on Google+, and then people have written something else on there. So now I get to avoid it. So I definitely suggest this for those kinds of people who just want to see a black bar. And only a black bar and no little red button.
It's really funny because I noticed in your rundown when we got to it before that there was no number.
Yeah, we can cut to it right now. You can see that it's just my name, and but if I went to plus, it'd be there.
Does it also take the number? You know what drives me crazy? The fact that the number of notifications shows up in your Google Plus tab title.
Oh, yeah. That's why I usually keep that tab closed.
Yeah.
Because
so
I
if you
have to
it open
check.
in the background, you see that you have unread things like on the tab. It makes me crazy. I actually enable that for Gmail because that I want, but I don't want it for Google+. So it would be great if that extension did that too.
Yeah, I think you can you turn off the thing in Gmail? You can, but not in Plus. They should get on that. But yeah, on Plus you can actually see the red too. I don't know what. Let's see what happened in my Google Plus. Oh, somebody commented on something. So that's fine. This is the perfect location for where I want notifications, not when I'm in the rundown and I notice, oh look, pithy comment. That's great. But yeah. And that's also why I usually keep Google Plus the tab closed, because of what Gina said. There's a little number up there, and I don't want to see it because then I'll get distracted because I'm like a child.
They did something pretty incredible with that little notification button, that number when it flips through when a new comment comes in, like 6, and then 6 is scrolling up and down. It is extremely addictive and really, really hard to ignore.
I tried to keep it at 9+ for a while because that's the max it does, and then you're like, okay, you're hoping that nothing happens.
Pegged at 9. It doesn't want to change.
You just never want to click it again because then you have to keep clicking. It's like a disorder, I think, Google Plus disorder. I think that wraps up this episode. Let's plug some things. Kevin, where can people find you on the internet?
Okay, I'm Kevin Purdy on Twitter, and I'm on Google Plus as well, just Kevin Purdy, and let's see, CompleteAndroidGuide.com, and most recently there's a link here on the screen, but bit.ly/G+MM spelled out. That's the link to the O'Reilly book I'm writing right now, Google Plus: The Missing Manual, which should be out just after the holidays, maybe before them, who knows.
Will the back of the book have a URL which has like updates to the book? Because
indeed, it's Google Plus is nothing if not a moving target, as I revise every chapter 5 times. So yeah, we'll also on the missing CD page, we'll have all that stuff you should expect from O'Reilly products.
That's great, because there's a lot of things on Google Plus. I mean, unless you spend all day in there, you won't be able to find. So good on you for writing that. How about you, Adam? I know you're on lifehacker.com. Any other things?
Yeah, I'm Adam Pash on Twitter. Same on Google Plus. Let's see. Gina and I co-wrote a book. It's the Lifehacker book. It's you can go to lifehackerbook.com. And yeah, I think that's probably good.
What if people want to see you in video form? Maybe if you did a show.
You could go to youtube.com/lifehacker for all the latest, or check us out on revision3.com/lifehacker.
That's awesome. And Gina, would you like to plug anything beyond Smarterware?
Actually, I just released a new version of the software that I work on called ThinkUp. If you go to thinkupapp.com, it's a social media analytics tool. And we just added Google Plus support in our last beta, which came out 2 days ago. So you can capture and archive all your Google Plus posts, your Facebook posts, your Twitter posts, and you can analyze conversations, get like word frequency graphs, and export your tweets to CSV. So you can do all kinds of cool. You can plot your tweets on a map. But this is the best beta ever. So if you've been thinking about trying out ThinkUp, and I know a lot of Twig listeners have, now's the time to do it because the latest beta is probably the best it's ever been.
And if you've circled Gina in Google Plus, you would have known this already. Oh. So you should be following everybody because I'm sure everyone is explaining this. Is it circled? Is it followed? What's the actual verbiage?
I've been saying
my editor does not think that it's encircled. I'll just tell you that.
Not encircled?
It's not encircled. Nobody thinks that's cute or funny.
That's what I've been using.
You were lassoed. That's what it was.
No.
It's like a corral. Okay, so next week, Leo will be back. So you can watch this show, This Week in Google, with more Leo Laporte. 100% more Leo Laporte next week. Thanks for watching this episode hosted by me. Bye.
All right. I have to go pull some beets out of the oven, which is not a euphemism.
I thought you were going to pull some beets out of the oven.
Do you know how long it takes to roast beets? Like an hour and a half. It's a long time. So.
I did not know that.
Yum.
Yeah, no, but it was exactly the length of one twig. So thank you all very much.
Thanks, Kevin.
That's why he was on.
See you, Kevin.
Bye, Kevin. I'm actually making TNT late. This is interesting because I don't know what we're even talking about. Okay. And
I'll just show kittens and bowls. There we go. While you wait.
Bowls. Okay, so there's the This Is Twig thing and the recorded thing, and then there's the teas, and then there's the billboards, right?
Yep.
Okay, so all kinds of fun Skype issues today.
Skype is, I'm just noticing that we're having some issues with our connection here. I'm noticing that the video is, or load times for the internet is slow. So I don't know if that's probably on our end.
Or wait, you know what? It's probably iOS 5.
It's iOS 5.
Who's downloading iOS 5 here?
Downloading iOS 5 and Lion 10.7.2 and
Stop till after
iTunes 10.5. Come on, guys. We're trying to run a network here.
Oh God, sorry. So I called back Kevin. Are you?
Kevin's back.
I think.
Frame rate's better.
Frame rate's better.
Okay.
Yeah, everybody was silencing. Everybody was freezing. Sorry about that. So I'm gonna do that. Okay. You don't want to see that, but anyways.
Cut that part too.
Yeah. Okay. There you go.
You got that editor? Who edits this show?
Tony.
Tony, we love you.
Thank you, Tony. We do love you.
And now we resume the show.